Dude, the night before the veterans check-in, we get some splashy roster news. Jamal Adams is a Viking. I cede the floor to you. Give me your football thoughts, man.
Yeah, we got real splashy, didn't we? It was
Yeah.
you and I were texting about other things, and all of a sudden you just say like Jamal Adams just signed with the Vikings. I'm making dinner, and I'm like, what the hell? What is going on? So then even my wife was like, what are you doing? Like you're literally in the middle of like marinating the chicken. Here's the thing. I think Jamal's a great name. It has cachet. I think a lot of people are excited about the pedigree that he is. After having gone last night and watched some of his film from last year playing linebacker in Las Vegas, I'm mystified. Quite frankly, I'm a little mystified by where he fits in this defense.
Ooh.
I know that right now that B Flow is going to say, "Hey, we got a multi-tool special athlete that has played safety, played defensive back, he played linebacker last year. We know that he can blitz, he can get downhill, he can be a little chaotic." So it sort of fits the mold of what Brian Flores can do. I just don't know where he's going to fit with all of the pieces that we have, because after what I watched, if they keep him at linebacker, which again will be intriguing, he's not better than Blake Cashman. He's not better than Eric Wilson, who they just gave new money to. He's not an outside linebacker where it's going to be Dallas Turner and Van Ginkel. He's similar to a Joshua Metellus, but he hasn't played that true safety role in a couple of years now. And certainly the Las Vegas Raiders didn't see him in that role last year. So is he just situational guy? Maybe you use him in some packages where you don't have to sub in and out. Like, does he become that utility player if you're facing a very specific team that does a lot of different personnel changes with their offense, 11 personnel, 12 personnel with the pass catcher? Do they go, do they try to mix things up when 21 personnel and you're like, hey, we don't have to move our personnel at all. We don't have to play this game of catch up with the personnel. We can just leave Jamal out there. He can play that outside linebacker / nickel type of guy and be adjusted out on a number 2 receiver, give us some blitzing opportunities, play the run a little bit, be that second level defender. Other than that, he's not going to be a full-time player. He wasn't last year. I don't see them moving him back to the true safety spot. And I don't think that he's athletic enough at this stage in his career to take over the Harrison Smith role that we saw Harrison play the last several years with B-Flow, where he's at the line of scrimmage, and the next, in the blink of an eye, he's all the way back deep center field.
I was really hoping you were going to say, I'm mystified that they would have let him leave Las Vegas.
Well, the rumors were he was going to go back to New York. I mean,
Yeah.
all the Jets fans, and I think he even said something about he wants to go back home, where it all started. So I think that there was the outside shot that he was going to go back to the Jets, but B-Flow and Nolan and Trent, they all decided that maybe this was the best spot.
I generally think guys who get to play, because, there's dudes on a roster who don't really see the field, depth pieces. But in terms of guys who get to play, I usually break it into 3 tiers. You have your, I can play anywhere in any system and succeed guys. It's a very small group, the APs of the world, the Justin Jeffersons of the world. Then at the very bottom, tier 3 is this group of guys where it's like, I'm getting to play, but I think if the team had it their way, I wouldn't be. Like whether it's injury, roster construction, there are rookies not ready, but guys who are like, you're not what we need in this place. Like that's the bottom. In the middle, and this is a big spectrum, but it's this whole group of players who are, their ability to produce is at least partially reliant on the support of the coaching staff and the system. Are they a good match? Do they, and so I think at one point early in his career, Jamal Adams was in that very top tier. To me, the big question is, I don't think he's down in that bottom third tier. I don't believe that. Where is he on that spectrum? And as you alluded to, if you're expecting him to come in and be a big, splashy, multi-down guy, I don't think that's what you're going to get. But perhaps let me pitch you this:
Hmm.
if you have Van Ginkel, just and on any random said play, you have Van Ginkel on the field, you have Jamal on the field, and you have Metellus on the field. With the way Flores likes to do things, who knows where those guys end up? You just added a third kind of moving chess piece where all three of them can go to the line, drop into linebacker, and with the exception of Van Ginkel, maybe going all the way back to safety, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah.
But the
I
other
mean,
one,
I'd like to think that he could do that, but I don't think that's going to happen.
yeah, but maybe just to mess with their brains and put something on tape. But the other one is you throw your defensive tackle down, and there's a universe where you have six guys floating around the line of scrimmage. In if you do Van Ginkel, Grenard, who tried to play the Van Ginkel role, we think Golday will be a little floaty, right? Cashman can move
Yeah.
all around. Metellus, Adams, where all of a sudden you could have kind of this whole disguise thing could go to a different level occasionally, not constantly. So that's my hope on that spectrum of how the system benefits the player and where he's at in that second tier. My hope is he's like a specialized weapon that when we throw him in, the confusion that Flores has been trying to create the last couple years that maybe the league is catching up on, maybe he's just a little extra thing you throw in every once in a while and everybody goes, why are six different guys floating around one tackle with no concept of which gap they're gonna, just pure chaos.
Yeah, no, I think, to me, again, looking at his skill set and sort of what he has left in the tank, I think that might be about the only answer that we have. That's the only way this all fits. Um, again, last year he played what, 40% of the snaps,
Yeah.
and he wasn't on the big downs. He was on the heavy downs, I should say. So if it looked like true running game, 21 heavy personnel, 22 personnel, goal line, short yardage, he went out there. You get into the true third and long situations where it's like more of a dime package, he wasn't out there.
Mm-hmm.
So even with the Raiders, as bad as the Raiders were, um, they looked at his skill set and like, ooh, man, you're just kind of this, like, you got to fit right in this window. And then with us, where is he going to
Maybe
fit
we're
with
the
all
best
of
house
that?
that has that window, though. Maybe we're the best at having that window.
And the thing is, maybe we are, and that's why I think that's why I'm mystified. I'm curious. I'm very interested to see what he can bring to the table, mostly because of what B Flow can do with his system, and mostly because B Flow he thrives off of chaos, and you
Mm-hmm.
have a chaos creator in this new chess piece. And especially early on, when I think a lot of offenses are going to try to figure out how we use him, then I think they're gonna be like, just to your point, like, oh snap, where's the pressure going to come from? He does blitz. We know that he's got 10 years on tape of basically blitzing, up the middle or off the edge. He can also play coverage. So where does this guy fit with all the other pieces? It'll make training camp, even more interesting than it already is.